25th match day of the Premier League fixture lineup is the exact reverse fixture for match day 12 of the 2023-2024 Premier League season. It was such an exciting weekend with plenty of goals scored, including a 4-4 draw between Chelsea and Manchester City, a 3-2 victory for West Ham against Nottingham Forest, just as much as it was for Everton away at Crystal Palace. Welcome back from the midweek football action that included scenes from the Europa League as well as the UEFA Champions League, where we saw Bayern Munich lose a first leg in the round of 16 knockout stages for the first time in 11 seasons, when they lost to Lazio by a 0-0, which was a penalty from Sile Immobile. In a week that we saw Brahim Diaz score a sensational goal as Real Madrid battled out an RB Leipzig, while Manchester City were 3-1 winners against Copenhagen. On the other side, PSG were busy beating Real Sociedad by 2-0 to better their chances to progress to the next stage. A week that has been concluded with news that is dominated by Kylian Mbappe's pending departure from PSG after he informed the club that he will not be playing at Parc de France next season. Yes, he has dominated that news, and as we speak, all reports indicate that Real Madrid already have a contract for the 25-year-old on table. But while that is also being said, fingers still point in the direction of the Premier League, where it is reported that he could join Arsenal or Liverpool should they be able to afford his wages. But I do think a move to the Emirates Stadium is impossible, and there is a full video on that topic. If you have not yet already watched it, I'll leave a link in the description. Yes, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. That's at Football Tribe UG that you can see in the background on that screen. So let's go straight into the fixture lineup that we do have for matchday 2025 of the Premier League that will kick off on Saturday up to until Monday night when Everton do host Crystal Palace. But like I did say, the 25th matchday is a reverse fixture of matchday 12, and here is the fixture lineup for you. At 3:30 p.m. Brentford will host Liverpool at the G-Tech Community Stadium, while Burnley at Turf Moor will host Arsenal. Fulham, who lost to Aston Villa by 3-1 in the first leg, will be at Craven Cottage to welcome Unai Emery's side, who come into the game at the back of a 2-1 loss against Manchester United. Newcastle, who lost to Andoni Iraola's side by 2-0 at the Vitality Stadium, will welcome Bournemouth, while Nottingham Forest will be at home against West Ham. Tottenham Hotspurs, who did lose to Wolves by 2-1, will welcome them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. While at 8:30 p.m. Manchester City will welcome Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea. Now, all the other 5 fixtures in between will kick off at 6 p.m. East African time before we welcome Super Sunday, that we will see Manchester United in action when they travel to Luton at 7:30 p.m. But earlier than that, at 5 p.m., Sheffield United will welcome Brighton, with whom they shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw. Remember, Manchester United at Old Trafford battled it out to beat Luton Town by a 0-0. So let's try and dive into all that action. We'll review a couple of games ahead of this weekend. We'll start things off with table leaders Liverpool, who will travel to the G-Tech Community Stadium to visit Thomas Frank's Brentford, a team that this season they did beat by 3-0 at Anfield. At Anfield, they know how to beat them too well, because in 3 meetings between the two sides at Anfield, Liverpool have won all the 3, winning by 3-0, a 0-0, and 3-0. But During their trips to Brentford, they are yet to win a single game there. In their two trips to the community stadium, they did share the spoils in a 3-all draw in their first trip there before losing by 3-1 in another. So, Jurgen Klopp, eager to extend his lead at the top of the Premier League table to 5 points before Manchester City and Arsenal do play their fixtures. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this fixture. If you are Jurgen Klopp and this Liverpool side and you are looking at your fixture lineup, you do think this is a winnable game. This is a game that you should be winning, and so that you better your chances of lifting in the 2023-2024 Premier League title. And indeed, they will try to do that. But make no mistake, early kickoffs are always a daunting task for not just the small teams, but for the big teams as well. And Brentford just come into this game on the back of a 2-0 victory away at Morenix Stadium, where Ivan Toney was on target. If you do remember last weekend, if you do not remember, feel free to check out our previous video for that review. But anyway, it will be a tough fixture because Liverpool, as electric as they can be, Thomas Frank with his side sort of have figured out a way of frustrating big teams when they are on their home turf. It is one where he will have to dig deep with his team to try and get a result, perhaps pick a point. It's a side they've beaten before, so he will be thinking we can do it again and then better our chances in this relegation battle that they are trying to fight. Not that they are in at the deep end, but they still do have a point to put on board for them to ensure their safety or their stay in the top flight of English football. There are few injury concerns for either side, but nonetheless that shouldn't stop them to field their best teams with Liverpool's expectations. The availability of the likes of Darwin Núñez, Diego Jota, Mo Salah, it said, will be available for selection this weekend after recovering from injury. Remember, he did sustain his injury while away with Egypt for the Africa Cup of Nations that was recently concluded in Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast being crowned champions in that tournament after beating Nigeria by 2-1. Sebastian Haller scoring the winner for that game. So that's the early kickoff fixture for you between Brentford and Liverpool. Like I said, Liverpool are chasing the title because after that fixture, they will have very soon, will be meeting Chelsea in the finals of the Carabao Cup there at Wembley Stadium, while Thomas Frank, things have not been good for him this season as he has performed in the previous 2 seasons. They've kind of struggled with the injuries of the likes of Bryan Mbeumo, but they will be delighted that Yohan Wissa is now back for and available for them to choose in terms of fostering their attack. So that's the bit of positive news that they do have on their side. Moving forward at 6 p.m., Arsenal do travel to Turf Moor. They did beat Burnley in the first leg by 3-1 in a game that saw Fabio Vieira, who is also recovering from injury. He did make training this week, receive a red card in that game, having come on a substitute, replacing Kai Havertz in that game early on in the second half. It was Leandro Trossard who opened the scoring for the Gunners. William Saliba did score the second, and Zinchenko scored the third in that 3-1 victory for the Gunners. So I do think Arsenal come in this game on the back of brilliant form. They've won 4 consecutive games. They have won 4 out of the last 5. Their last loss being a 2-1 loss to Fulham. They went on to beat Crystal Palace by 5-0 before beating Nottingham Forest by 2-1 and then beat up against Liverpool by 3 goals to 1, and last weekend did smash West Ham by 6 goals to 0. Coming into this fixture, of course, Burnley are not on decent form. They have drawn two out of the last 5 games, including a 1-1 draw against Luton Town and a 2-2 draw against Fulham. But they have lost to Manchester City by 3 goals to 1, lost to Liverpool by 3 goals to 1, and then lost by 3 goals to 2 against Aston Villa. So their performance this season has, for lack of a better word, been far lacking. You had the likes of David Daturo Fofana miss key chances last weekend. You had Wilson Odegaard miss a crucial chance in that game, so they lost it by 3 goals to 1 against Liverpool. And again, notably, they will be without some of their key players, including Lyle Foster, Lucas Coleisho. So those are some of their key players that they will be without, while the Gunners will also come into this game with their injury concerns. Yes, most of these players have made progress in terms of returning to training, but are still a doubt for selection in this fixture, including Gabriel Jesus, Takehiro Tomiyasu, Urian Timber, Thomas Partey, Emil Smith-Rowe, so as well as Fabio Vieira. So they do carry their own injury concerns. So with Vincent Company, they like to be passive and they like to be they do have the speed, they do possess the ball, they play fancy football on the ice, but at the end of the day, they are not posting results on board. And if you are Arsenal trying to put yourself in the title conversation, this is a game that you must win against all odds. And if your away form is anything to go by, you shouldn't be worried, Arsenal fans, because you can't get a result away at Turf Moor. This is not a defensive Burnley that should really trouble you. Oftentimes they have themselves open. Their goalkeeper, Trafford, as good as he is with his feet, oftentimes he's fallen prey to their poor defensive shape when caught on the attack, in counter-attacks, and then giving away spaces sometimes when they do commit their numbers forward in that kind of sense. So I do expect Arsenal to go on and win this game. Not that it will be any easier, but as you prepare yourself to face FC Porto in the UEFA Champions League, I'm sure this is a game you need to win and then put away your worries and then focus on the UEFA Champions League. And then, of course, later on a Saturday, we do have Manchester City hosting a Chelsea, title contenders, a team that wants to defend its title or even treble, to say the least, do host a Chelsea side. Now, the last time Chelsea and Manchester City met at the Etihad Stadium, Man City did win by 1-0. But like I did mention earlier, that the very most recent meeting between the two sides, that was at Stamford Bridge, it ended in a 4-4 draw. So and Chelsea do come in this fixture with form not so much on their side, because they've had a 4-2 loss against Wolves in recent times, a 4-1 loss to Liverpool. Yes, they've gone on to win against Crystal Palace by 3 goals to 1. Some of their recent fixtures, I think they also did edge Luton by 3 goals to 2 in their away fixture there. But we do all know that Chelsea can be unconvincing at times, and the 3-1 victory against Crystal Palace on Monday night this week may sort of be deceiving, like I did note in my live episode on Facebook, because that game was 1-0 at halftime in favor of Crystal Palace. Jefferson Lemar scoring a stunner in that game, and then of course you had Conor Gallagher level the score in the second half. But that game was 1-1 until at the time when Conor Gallagher scored, the second goal, and then of course Enzo Fernandez 3 minutes later scoring the last goal to finish the game off. So yes, they did dominate possession, but I did feel they were unconvincing. And against a title chasing Pep Guardiola, like this is usually the time when he switches into that gear, and they do not care how fancy they play to win. So they'll be out all guns to try and win this game. Um, they have 11 wins in a row. So that's the kind of performance they come on the back on after having beaten Copenhagen by 3-1 in the Champions League. Kevin De Bruyne on target there, including Phil Foden as well as Bernardo Silva. I think De Bruyne did post an assist and a goal in that game. So incredible form that he is in. That's Kevin De Bruyne. So he will be a big worry if you're Mauricio Pochettino. You're thinking, how do I stop Kevin De Bruyne? Do I have Moises Caicedo man mark him? Do I ask Enzo Fernandez to do that job? Because if you let him loose in that midfield, he will punish you. Not that he's the only player capable of punishing a team like Chelsea, but he would want to focus on because he delivers most of the supply. With Pep Guardiola, it's hard to predict who will start, except for goal where you have Ederson Morales, and then that defense, I think Joško Vardiol is a doubt for them through injury, as well as Mateo Kovacic is a doubt. Jack Grealish is a doubt for this game. Bernardo Silva and Mateo Kovacic. So while on the other side, Chelsea do also have their injury concerns. Some could, perhaps a few could get late fitness tests for this fixture, but it may come too early for the likes of Richie James, who is out injured, Thiago Silva out injured. You have the likes of Robert Sanchez, so you do expect Petrovic to start in goal. Marco Cucurella, Leslie Ugo Chukwu, as well as Romeo Lavia, who hasn't really featured much for this Chelsea side ever since signing him from Southampton in the summer. But these are the fixtures where you want your big money signings to put on quite a show to show their worth. The likes of Enzo Fernandez, Mukalo Modric, Cole Palmer, former Manchester City player, will be facing his bosses. Remember, Cole Palmer did score the goal against Arsenal in the Community Shield, but late on in the transfer window did switch allegiances to Chelsea. So you do want those key players, Raheem Sterling, a former Man City player, as well in that mix, to sort of put on quite a performance that is quite convincing, not just of the manager, but also to show that they were worth all the pennies that were spent on them. So that's the contest that will be there late on at 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. But like I did say, Manchester United do face Luton Town at on Sunday. That's at 7:30 p.m. Their first fixture, United had to grind it out to win it by goal to nil. Luton Town are often good at home, but in their last few fixtures, they haven't really been to the task. They did lose to Sheffield United by 3-1 last weekend. So Manchester United, having won their own away fixture against Aston Villa by 2-1, will fancy their chances coming into this fixture that they can make the good. So yes, they will be without Licha or Sandro Martinez, but I think they can still cope given their performance at Aston Villa last weekend. Scott McTominay scoring the winner in that one, while Rasmus Højlund did open the scoring, and of course you had Douglas Luiz equalize at the time in that game. So, but United will have a few figures to worry about, including Adebayo for this Luton Town side. He does know how to score those goals. The likes of Ross Barkley in that attacking midfield in that team have been quite good performance for this Luton Town side. But like I keep saying, we do expect United to grind this one out, especially now that they are pursuing that spot in the UEFA Champions League or a top 4 slot. In a week where they've had good news of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's 25% stake takeover in Manchester United approved by the Premier League. The only pending approval is from the EFA, which they will be getting very soon. and everything will have been in order for the English billionaire to take over for controlling interest, football controlling interest in the matters of Manchester United. They're already making moves. They do want to take Newcastle's sporting director. They've already poached Manchester City's CEO there. So they're already beginning to put their backroom staff structure in order. So they should be pretty excited about themselves ahead of this fixture. This is the only competition they are still in, and the FA Cup, so they should be firing on all cylinders. Not that it will be an easy game because, like I did say, Luton can be a tricky side at home. Teams that have gone there and won, they have had to grind it out. The likes of Chelsea, the likes of Arsenal. Remember, it was a 4-3 win. Declan Rice scoring a header late on. Martin Odegaard providing the assist. Manchester City with a 2-1 win. So you can really tell that they do know their, that cramped up or, tiny sort of stuff that they do play on. So that's it for me for the review of match day 2025. We will discuss more news in the course of the weekend as that comes. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, comment, share, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed and have a wonderful weekend.